there she is. Hello.
Hi, so good to see you.
Good
Hi.
to see you. Okay, wait, now I have to like tilt my camera a bit here. Hopefully you won't fall. It's cutting off my head. Or I just like back up or I sit like this. This is what I'll do sometimes. I just sit like this. There we
Is
go.
that
This
better?
works. Yeah, this works. Now I'm like this.
Oh, good to
Um,
see you.
Good to see you. Oh, wait, I have a friend who is in, oh, please, for me, it's 95 where she is. It's hot.
Oh,
What's it like? Where's it like where you are? Is it feeling like fall in the Midwest yet?
me, no, well, today it was only 82, so it wasn't too bad, but I just got back from Arizona, so it was in the hundreds, but yeah, not much fall weather here yet.
I'm ready.
I know.
I'm ready for it.
I know. Actually, starting tomorrow, I think our highs are going to be in the 70s, so we're going to start to feel it. Yay.
That's great weather.
It was
Perfect
great.
weather.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
So this week we are talking about emotional intelligence. And I just thought you were the perfect friend to talk to about this, everyone. So my friend Kristen, I'm going to let her explain her background a bit, but just experience coaching people in corporate world, in
Mhm.
nonprofit world, and then your personal coaching. And I am sure many of the things that you've dealt with in coaching and HR world have centered around emotional intelligence. So why don't you tell everyone a
Mhm.
little bit about yourself and why I would invite you on here to talk about this with me?
Yeah, well, I love the topic, so thank you for thinking of me. You know my heart. Um, well, my background really was mostly corporate HR. So I've led the HR function in Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, lots of industries. Suzanne and I have the TV business in common, so that's always been fun to talk about. But what I found, I mean, what I do now, I'm at the season of my life where I'm working independently as a consultant. So I do mostly leadership development. Here's a big place where this comes into play. And then also do individual and leadership coaching, including executive coaching. It's remarkable how many people get to the executive level without mastering emotional intelligence. It really is. But it shows in their leadership. So really, that's my background. I love lots of assessments, and some of those help us to know and connect better with other people. But Suzanne, what I loved about your blog post was that you really went with my intelligence about myself and my own emotions. I loved that. So let me start there.
Yeah, and it's, Kristen and I met in our discipleship group. I have written a lot about that you were that you were part of, and to have someone who understood both where we feel personally on things, and it's like, oh, you get TV world, because you never, by the way, anyone's wondering, you didn't work for the same companies that I've worked
No.
for. You worked for a different TV company,
Mm-hmm.
but you automatically, it's hard for me to sometimes find people that realize what I do, and you're like, I know what you do,
Yeah.
so you've been
Yeah.
a great person for me to, like, neutral space for me to talk about
Good.
things, and
Good.
that I love. So yes, emotional intelligence. And I wrote about my emotions have helped me and held me back all in the same way. Like, I'm passionate, so it's helped me. It's driven me. Sometimes it's driven me in a not healthy way because my reactive emotions are, driving me to like please other people or different things,
Mm-hmm.
but also held me back because I didn't understand how emotive I was. And I'll be honest, one of the things I struggle with is I think that quote I used from Adam Grant, changing it from how you made me feel to like how I reacted. And it's a
Yes.
constant. I think one thing people have to realize, I don't think you've ever mastered emotional intelligence. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I'm, at a certain time of life and I'm still mastering it. My Enneagram 8 with a wing 7, for any of you who are Enneagram people, is very passionate, very outward. And so I, by nature, am very reactive and emotional, very much a feeler. And as you can imagine, leading the HR function and dealing with um, delicate things, it really reshaped me. But it took growth and emotional intelligence to understand why that was important. So I'm grateful, like you, Suzanne, for the people that in my life, especially supervisors, leaders that I had that cared enough and were courageous enough to give me the feedback I needed to hear. That was big.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And for me also, that I had patience. So it was
Yes.
like, whoa, you know, like you're not you right now. Like, you know, some grace and patience, you know,
Yes.
have definitely been part of it as well. You said that you're surprised. We have both leaned into the same Katie Cole. You've met with her. I've
Yeah.
had a few
Love her.
sessions with her too. When I sat with Katie, she said something that I thought was so true. Because I only, in my career time, I had a coach through work for a brief time, and I never had a long term one. And
Mhm.
she made a thing. She's like, so many businesses mess up. And she's like, high achieving employees aren't the ones who get the coaches. It's the ones who are having a lot of issues that end up getting the coaches, when in fact they need therapy and your high achievers need coaching. Is
Mhm.
that something, when you said you're surprised to see how many people make it up to the C-suite and haven't mastered emotional intelligence, is that something, talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think a lot of my, especially C-suite level clients for leadership coaching, it just prove out the old adage, it's lonely at the top. They are very lonely because you don't have a lot of safe places to process, and it's hard to be vulnerable. But I also find that sometimes they've been so focused outward and how trying to determine how to motivate others and how to get other people to do what they need them to do, that they haven't examined themselves, and they haven't mastered what I call self-leadership. And that's where I think emotional intelligence really comes in. And it shows up in their teams. Now, they've been very successful in the business side of things, but when it comes to strongly influencing and truly getting, truly leading people, not managing, not forcing, not intimidating, but really leading people, I think emotional intelligence is absolutely critical.
Well, and I think too, people who aren't mature themselves too don't even realize how to spot that. And they may even view it as weak
Yes.
leadership
Yes.
because it's not top
Yes.
down. It's what it is being very wise with your emotions and how to motivate others, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And if I could share just some background, as I was reading your blog post, the first thing that came to my mind was back in the day when I was certified with Franklin Covey, and I taught 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit one, it's called Be Proactive. And I think people, if they just hear that title, misunderstand. What it says is, uh, we can't choose everything that happens to us, but we can always choose how we react. And boy, did I resist that for a little while, because I thought so many things have happened that weren't my choice. And then I had to just keep going back to, but I choose my response. So Covey, set up the model that said, here's the stimulus, here's what happens, and here's how I react. And right in between that is a big choice element, right? If we allow ourselves to recognize that we do have a choice in how we respond or how we react. And what happened is, for me, and then as I started to lead workshops on it, more and more I felt the freedom of that, because when we feel like we're out of control because things are happening to us, we always have control of how we react and how we let it affect us. And suddenly there was this immense freedom in understanding that I wasn't giving up control. I had control, which can be a blessing and a curse for me. Control's a thing. But in those situations, I didn't feel like the victim at all. And I really, truly felt like it dialed down my emotion in those situations, because I felt really calm, cool, and collected because I was in control. Very huge paradigm shift for me. And I've seen it happen for many others as well. Um, and I think effective leaders also, even at the executive level, understand that market conditions are going to change. A lot of things are going to change around you. How do you respond to that? So it's been an ongoing life lesson for me. Still is, believe me. There are many moments where I don't have that presence of mind, but I reflect and go, darn it, I blew it. Habit one, girlfriend. Habit one.
I get it. You know, the biggest help for me in that I've worked on for the past year and a half is that's helped me in not being so reactionary is spotting when I'm not spotting when I'm in an area of stress behavior is what, the Berkman calls
Yep.
it. Like, what are
Yep.
my signs
Yes.
that I am in my stress behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and like, what are they, spotting those. And I think, that it's been a game changer for me. Spotting when I've let the boundaries get too fuzzy, spotting, where I know my weaknesses are. For me, spotting when I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at the point where there's this one sign for me that, like, I can feel it, like, in my car. If I see myself thinking this, I'm like, it is time for an afternoon off.
Yes.
And that's been a game changer for me too. I like, what are your indicators that you're under stress?
Yes. I think those stress behaviors are big. I use the Berkman as well. And I think too, when I'm like, if I do a leadership development, workshop or course, I always start with self-leadership. Because then once you understand yourself and what your expectations of yourself and other people are, then you can better connect with other people. Emotional intelligence is self and others, right? But I think until we really understand ourselves, it's hard to perceive other people fairly and then connect with them in a healthy way. So that's a piece of the puzzle. So I saw that, I was really, really excited to see all of that in your blog post. It was really fun.
So, someone who wants to start the journey of
Yeah.
managing their emotions and how they respond,
Yeah.
where, where would you tell them to start?
Well, I would embrace every assessment you can get your hands on. So I would start with Enneagram is really amazing. It does have some faith-based language, but you're not tied to that. So, you sort out what works. But I think what I like about Enneagram the most is that it really gets down to how certain things in your childhood may have shaped you. It identifies your fear. Ooh, there's the biggie right there, because it will help you understand so many of your reactions as well, or why you perceive things the way you do. Yeah, what is your core fear? Ooh, that's big. Enneagram, I mean, the one that I use the most, I think it costs $12 or $15 to take, so it's not a huge investment. But it's really powerful. If you have an opportunity in your workplace to take like predictive index, Myers-Briggs, a lot of these are online. It just really begin to, in fact, I recommend taking several. When I work with people, for instance, on their purpose, I have them do spiritual gifts and Enneagram and predictive index, Strengths Finder. Enneagram, somebody asked to spell Enneagram. And
Let
the,
me put it
yeah, sorry, I just saw somebody said spell Enneagram. And the assessment, I can send you to the site that I think is most accurate. It's not a fancy, pretty site, but it's the most accurate. It's WEPSS ://. So it's WEPSS is the best resource that I've used. A lot of counselors use it. I mean, it's really well validated. So anyway, sorry. Strengths Finder is wonderful. I think the more that you can, really get a broad look at yourself from several angles, it's helpful, because a lot of the assessments identify something different. Enneagram is pretty broad, but it's the only one that brings in your fears. And boy, that's a lot of what stands in our way. Strengths is just that. And we tend to focus our development on our weaknesses. But if you spend more of your life working on your, playing to your strengths, that's terrific. Part of knowing yourself, again, going back to emotional intelligence. I in HR, being an HR leader, it was really difficult to be high empathy. I had to understand that about myself, and I didn't for many years. So you take Enneagram 8, which is a challenger and a justice seeker, and then my strength of empathy, it was really hard for me to be objective and neutral. Very intentional in every interaction, and controlling my own responses and being really thoughtful about how I responded. So yeah, I think the more assessments you can take, predictive index identifies your needs and your motivators. So sometimes, for those who are married or in other relationships, so much is about meeting one another's needs. And when we're upset with each other, it's typically because there's a need that's not being met. Is it that I don't feel loved or respected? Or so predictive index, something that helps you understand your core needs, very helpful. My core need, my highest need is influence. And my husband knows that if he includes me in decisions or scheduling and things like that, I'm going to be so supportive of him. If he leaves me out of it, it doesn't go so well. I want to collaborate. I want to, it's the involve me. Get me involved and I'll be your biggest supporter. Lay something on me without including me, I'm probably not going to be quite so agreeable. So things like that really help you to understand yourself and why you respond the way you do.
Yeah, I think that knowing your fear of, if I think about my not so good reactions and reactions that have hurt people, that I've done, it's because I was reacting out of a core fear of mine.
Yes.
A core fear of mine is failure, and lack of approval.
Yes.
And if I feel like that I am failing someone or looking like I am failing,
Yes.
I will go to level 5,000. I've had to realize that, not everything that people say to me is an accusation that I failed. But I think it's also important when managing other people and for the leaders on here.
Yes.
You also have to realize the people who are closest to you, like what their triggers are. I do think it's it's a dual responsibility. And, that's part of just getting to know. There's the self-leadership and then the leadership of getting to know the folks that you're dealing with and what can, what do they say? Don't poke the bear. It's figuring out how to approach conversations. So great stuff. I find all of those. I think we're the same on Myers-Briggs, weren't we? I think
we were very similar on Myers-Briggs. Yeah, different on Enneagram a bit, but very similar on Myers-Briggs. Yeah,
I'm a 3 on Enneagram for anyone wanting to know.
Yeah,
achiever.
I'm an 8-wing 7.
Yeah.
So I'm a challenger, justice seeker, wing enthusiast.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so if people want to hear more from you or meet with you, where can they find you, my friend?
Well, I'm actually getting ready to launch my new website, but the name of my business is Talent RX because I do a lot of talent strategy and coaching. Right now, my current website is purposecoach.biz. So please reach out. Very happy to hear from anyone. And, just love talking about these things because I think if I hadn't been involved in conversations like this early in my career, I wouldn't have taken a path that I'm so passionate about. So super grateful.
That's awesome. Thank you for hopping on with me.
You're welcome.
Any of y'all watching this live or in playback, Kristen is, just as she said, she is a justice seeker. She is an influencer, and she loves to help. She loves to help people. She loves to help women. I mean, we didn't talk, but you're a wife, you're a mom, all the things I talk about, a wife, mom, boss. I'm
a stepmom. If anybody can relate to that, that takes emotional intelligence right there.
Yeah, a stepmom. And you've gone through, many phases of life, and how you know that the struggles and the different phases and identities and things that go along with that. So I can't think of an area that you don't hit for any woman demo out there, that there's been, you've hit just about all of them.
So all right, good.
Yeah, that's good. So it's just anybody who is looking for someone to help them through some things, please reach out to Kristen.
Absolutely.
I'm sure she would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
So that is it for tonight. Y'all just check out my blog, reach out, check out Kristen. You're on Instagram here too at the Purpose Coach, right? The Purpose Coach, yep. Awesome. Good talking to you, my friend. You too. Thank you. I will see everyone later. I'm going to go have some dinner. Good night. Bye.